Hey everyone, welcome to our studio show here, round 14 of MXGP. We're in Belgium at the notorious circuit of Lommel, where my guests this week will be Ryan Villopoto, Tommy Searle, and as always, Adam Wheeler on trackoffroad.com. But before we get into the show, Adam, at the start of last week's program in the Czech Republic, we were talking about Tony Cairoli now not being a part of the World Championship. But Jeffrey Hurlings is also out for the season after what happened in qualifying last week, meaning Paul Jonas is the only hope now for KTM to lift a title for him in 2015.
That's a pretty good hope. He took his first, his best Grand Prix result here last year, Paul, in the sand of Lommel. But, you know, we were talking MXGP now, Roman Febvre, 88 points ahead. That's quite a substantial gap with 5 rounds to go. And I think, you know, in MX2, we see a remarkable situation with 6 riders separated by around 60 points. So it's suddenly become completely open season in the 250s, and it's going to be fantastic to see who's going to be on the podium this weekend, because with Jeffrey gone, it's no longer a given, is it? There's no kind of informal form book winner that we can say, right, chase that guy.
And almost at the same time in the season as it was last year that it all happened, we find ourselves in exactly the same scenario, don't we, with, like say, you know, a handful of guys.
And the best thing is everyone's bench racing even more now, saying, well, I think Tixier's going to take the points again. You know, Guillaume's very strong. Geiger, can he stay on the bike? That's been his problem for the last couple of rounds. So there's lots of permutations. It's pretty cool. Well,
obviously, we've got all that to come this weekend and for the rest of the season. But before we meet Ryan Villopoto, let's see what did happen last week when we were in the Czech Republic Locket round 13. Here's some highlights from MX2, race 2.
Getting a great jump on the number 99 Monster Energy DRT Kawasaki, and it was he who grabbed the Fox hole shot by the narrowest of margins, because on the exit it was Tim Geiser who blasted around the outside of the Kawasaki rider and into the lead. Bernardini made another good start and was well placed in third. So too Valentin Guillaume, Jordi Tixier and Benoit Paturel once more. Geiser survived this moment as he led. Max Anstey was on board and wondered what was happening next, and 2 corners later, Anstey found his way around the outside of the Honda rider and into the lead. Anstey started to pull clear, but 4 laps later, his hand came off the handlebar through the rhythm section, and the Brit was down and out and would not pick up points in race 2. Paul Jonas was having a good ride just ahead of the number 91 of Jeremy Searle, but then he lost the front end and fell from 4th position. He remounted to finish 7th. Petr Petrov was one of the riders that went through. All eyes were on this battle though between Geiser and Guillaume. The 2 riders battling not only for the race win but vital World Championship points in the MX2 title fight. Benoit Paturel nudged aside Jordi Tixier to get himself into 4th to record his best result of the season. But Valentin Guillaume on the standing construct Yamaha pulled clear of the Honda of Tim Geiser. And it was he who went on to take his 3rd race win and 3rd Grand Prix victory of the season. Geiser came home 2nd, Jonas was 3rd, and the overall looked like this. Guillaume, Jonas and Tixier, Paturel and Petrov rounding out the top 5. 24 points now, though, the gap between Hurlings and Geiser. But Guillaume right there as well, tied on points. Can he do it again when we go to Belgium next time out?
Of course, that was just a week ago in Locket at the Czech Republic, and I'm glad to say now that our first guest is here, and Ryan Villopoto, Monster Energy Kawasaki Racing Team. Welcome back to Europe.
Well, thank you, guys. It's good to be back.
Something of a whirlwind tour. First of all, though, you were in Eindhoven last night. How was the DC Shoes gig?
Yeah, it was good. It was, you know, a lot of people showed up, and you know, guys got to hang out, and it was more of a relaxed kind of thing. There's some music playing, and you know, everybody just hung out and had a good time.
Well, obviously the last time we saw you was at Trentino, round 4. We'll talk about your season in terms of racing and the crash a little later on. But obviously since then, you know, until you announced your retirement just a few weeks ago, there was obviously a lot of silence for a period of, you know, 6 to 8 weeks. I guess a lot of people really wanting to know, you know, why was the silence? And I don't know, what were you hoping to gain from it, I guess?
Well, that's not a very small decision. And I have a lot of big sponsors that are behind me and have been behind me my whole entire career. Parts Unlimited being one of them, Monster, Kawasaki. Those are along with a bunch more, but those are like 3 major sponsors that I've been with my entire career. So, you know, that's not a decision that I can just say, okay, well, I'm going to make this, and then they all find out. You go to each one of them, you talk to them, you sit down with them. So it takes time, and just that decision alone before going to them, you know, took time to you know, come to you know, conclusion, and then we went after and sought out all of them and talked to them.
So was that always the case then after the crash? Because initially, you know, we were talking, I think we went from Trentino, then Holland, you rode the bike and said it was a bit stiff, but we will be back in Matterley Basin, for instance, at the next round, or Spain.
Well, that was all the plan, to get back on the bike as soon as possible. Things didn't work out as planned, with like a lot of things happen with injuries and things like that, and you know, it pretty soon after a while, it just started getting farther and farther away, and then we're like, hey, listen, what are we really going to gain here? You know, because as long as I was off the bike, it was going to take that much, or if not longer, to get back to being, you know, competitive form, to race with, you know, some of the best guys in the world. So, you know, it wasn't it wasn't what we all wanted to see, but it is what it is. Those were the cards that we were all dealt. And then guys just started dropping out like flies. It's just part of the season. It's just the way it goes.
Ryan, was there a point, you know, when you flew home to the US where you thought, you know, where you felt inside that you didn't really want to carry on, you didn't want to put all that effort, that training in again to get to the level? Was there a moment where you thought, listen, maybe this is time? Well,
you know, after a while there, you know, we were sitting there thinking, okay, now looks like we're going to be able to start, you know, start to ride. And it's like, okay, what are we going to catch? What rounds are we going to catch? And it came down to potentially the last 2, depending on how training went and how things progressed, and if it progressed as quickly as we wanted it to. So we had to make the decision to go the route that we went. And before the season had started, obviously I wanted that to come out and be like, hey, guys, win, lose, draw, whatever ends up happening, that's the story, and the book's closed. So we figured this was a better option to be able to come back and go to more races and you know, do PR stuff and get to, you know, say hello, goodbye type of thing, you know, and be involved with the racing, instead of if I were to go and try to catch the last one or the last 2, I'd be stuck training, riding, just trying to make that window.
But picking up on that, we had Jean-Michel Baird on the studio show a few weeks ago, and we asked his opinion on, and it was the weekend, I think, that you announced your retirement. So when you know, just say then that the window was going to be maybe the last 2 rounds, he obviously would have preferred, had you even decided to come back for those last 2 rounds, you know, Mexico, but then going out in America, win, lose or draw, but just having that farewell race. Was that not something that ever crossed your mind while you're thinking, well, the 2 rounds that we can do, Glen Helen?
Well, it's hard. It's hard. It's that, you know, it's hard to you know, look at that, and especially guys that have raced a long time ago. Today's racing is much different than they've ever raced or ever experienced. So they don't have, you know, racing is racing, and there is some things that never change, but there's a lot of things that change, and where the sport's at right now, and the level that the guys are at, and the equipment that you have to ride, the amount of horsepower they have, you know, it takes a whole, you know, you got to be in it to win it. You have to be fully prepared, even if you're going out for that last race or that thing. So that's a lot of preparation for 1 round or 2 rounds. You know, so it you know, in the end, it didn't make any sense.
Was it a relief, you know, when you kind of made up your mind?
It was a relief. It was. I'm happy with the decision. Like I said, it wasn't. Now I'm happy with the decision, but it wasn't what we all wanted to see, for sure. It wasn't how we planned it, so to say. But we made do with what was presented to us, and we're going to move forward from there.
I mean, people put your name up there with Ricky Carmichael in terms of what you've done and you've achieved, and he kind of took a soft way out, didn't he? I mean, by a gentle way out. He made some, Supercross appearances and waved and did the whole goodbye thing. I mean,
yeah,
was that something?
We're not always going to do it the same way, and it might not always be the exact way you want it to happen. And that's the way it is. That's life. Life's not fair. So it is what it is, and I'm here now, enjoying it and going to see some racing.
Well, let's talk about your season then. Qatar was where it all kicked off for you. Wasn't the best way to start the campaign, was it? Race one.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
It was a rough entry into MXGP.
Yeah, we had definitely had a rough weekend. Myself, the team, so we could have scratched that one off the list and started off at Thailand. That would have been...
or kind of started off.
Yeah, exactly. So, we definitely struggled and went back the 2 days that we had and did some testing and came out in Thailand and was much better. So,
what was the problem there? Just an electrical thing, or you don't know really?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. So,
okay.
Put him on the spot, Paul. Why don't you?
No.
Yeah.
And then Jose just kind of saying, "Welcome to MXGP."
Yeah.
Bless him.
I think I passed him like 6 times at Moto.
But what was your experience of Qatar in general? That first, an outdoor night race. You'd done one before in Colorado, I guess, but
yeah.
It's kind of different though.
Yeah, well, geez, it was different. It reminded me a little bit of Vegas and then Colorado at night, So it was cool. It was all the overseas races were really interesting. Thailand being the most interesting, and Argentina being probably one of the most beautiful places I've been. So those are really great to go and see and get to experience and go there and race.
Well, what about Thailand? Because obviously you've never been there before. What was it like as a country, first of all, before we talk about the result there?
Yeah, it was bizarre. It was really cool. I would like to go back again, and
for the street food.
Yeah, right. I'm sure there's some really good stuff there if you're brave enough to test it out.
There are some nice resorts out there, actually, outside of where you were.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Bangkok was really cool. All the fans were great, and they're just really into it.
But it was something of a quick turnaround, wasn't it? You picked up your first and only, sadly, MXGP victory. How was it, being there on that weekend? Yeah,
it was good. We like I said, we came back. We had 2 days of testing. Here, actually in Germany. So we flew back, we tested, and then we flew there. So we made some good progress and was able to show up there and ride pretty well. And then other than that, it was for second moto could have gone a little bit better, but it is what it is, and we ended up getting the overall. So.
Second moto, was that more down to just a lack of fitness, maybe? Because everybody had your name on it when they saw the track and then the heat and humidity, but,
Well, I don't know, saw the track, I've never rode any of these tracks, and I heard some of the stuff, it's like a Supercross track. Guys, if you want to go see Supercross,
yeah, I know.
Get on the plane and let's go see it, because this isn't it.
No.
I thought the weekend went pretty well. Second moto, I was at that point in time still getting used to, and even at Trentino, I was getting used to the 2-day program. We haven't raced 2 days or had a 2-day program in many years in the States. So it's a lot more riding here, and all that stuff I was still adjusting to, and I would have probably still been adjusting to it halfway through the season. Learning everything and learning the new tracks and doing all the different things.
I think from the first 2 rounds, we can't forget the amount of respect people have for you for coming over and trying the Grand Prix. I mean, I was getting messages from the States in Qatar. People were like not watching practice in the Supercross. They were in the pits trying to find a TV to see how you were getting on. But then, you became sort of the first US rider to take an MXGP victory. But even then, I remember speaking to you after that GP, and you weren't too happy. You were like, well, it wasn't a 1-1, and I don't know, it wasn't like a sense. It was just like the beginning of something, but you weren't like.
Sure, I would have liked to have a better result the second moto, but. It is what it is type of thing. What happened, and we came back and we kept working, and until you I guess conquer that, you're not necessarily happy. We got our first win and that was great, but we wanted a little bit more.
I remember you could talk about the impact you've had like on Grand Prix since you decided to sort of come and be a part of this championship. In Argentina, that was really clear. I mean, I remember seeing your face. You were almost like a bit bemused by having a security escort through the fans and stuff. It was pretty crazy.
It was intense. You know, I guess it'd be like Motocross of Nations every weekend, at least for the rounds that we went to. So, yeah, that was all really cool things to see.
And what about Argentina? You mentioned it a moment ago. Beautiful country, which I think we all agreed, where we were for the GP was a really spectacular place.
Yeah.
But again, what about race weekend?
Because yeah, it was good. We struggled a little bit, but it seemed like every track we went to, we were racing someone a little bit differently. It might have been Tony this weekend, and next weekend it was Max, and maybe for second, third, fourth, everybody was kind of jumbled around there. It was still very kind of early on in the it was the third round. So, we struggled a little bit, but we were still there. We were still right up front there and making progress slowly, but we were.
Was it the best track you'd ridden at that stage in those first 3 rounds?
Yeah, it was. It was good. It was really unique. The dirt. It was almost like this hollow, like volcanic something or other. It was really strange. So. I think everybody was a little bit, thrown off by the dirt. At first we show up there, okay, it doesn't look like you're going to run a scoop tire, and then all of a sudden we end up all running scoop tires. So it was very, we made a decision, I think for the second motor to run the scoop.
Was it nice having your buddy Casey Stoner in your corner that weekend?
Yeah, it was good to see him. We got to hang out with him a little bit, and it's always nice to see friends, and we hadn't seen him in a while.
All right. Well, obviously this GP again, when people arrived there, it was a new track for everybody. But seeing how wide and flowing it was, again, people earmarked you as certainly on the podium, possible GP win, certainly a race win. If anything, was holding you back that weekend, what was it? Because by this stage, we're talking on a regular basis and people saying maybe you're still struggling with suspension a little bit or trying to find the best setup. Is that kind of...
Oh, I mean, I think the settings and the bike setup was ever changing, always gonna happen, especially from where I was. All these were new tracks. And, I'm trying to figure out and learn them as quick as I can and then learn the setup also. So that was one of them. I'd say that weekend starts probably killed me the most. We struggled really bad on the starts that weekend.
All right. Well, we'll talk to Ryan more in just a moment, and we'll talk about the crash at Trentino, which I'm sure you've seen it at least one time, no more than 2, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But we'll be back with Ryan in just a moment. But let's catch up with what happened at MXGP round 13 last week in the Czech Republic at Lockett. Here's some highlights from race 2.
A great start from Commander Searle. That Rockstar Energy Suzuki rocketing out from behind the gate. And it was the Belgian who grabbed the foxhole shot. Behind him, Gauthier Paulin in 5th place, finding his way past Glenn Coldenhoff, but couldn't quite find the speed to get past Strybos. And the Searle it was who led the way. Just warming up, Roman Fevre rehearsed to move down the inside of Evgeny Bobashev, looking to go from 3rd to 2nd. Van Horbeek thought he found a way past Coldenhoff. Eventually, Fevre's opportunity came, and he was up into 2nd with that pass, and then went after number 25, Commander Searle. It was close combat between the 25 and the 461, banging bars and trading places on more than one occasion. As Dean Ferris went out, and Nathan Watson almost running into the back of more than one rider in the race. De Searle responding to the threats and the challenging and the hard riding from Roman Fevre, but it was clean all the way through until lap 7 when Fevre eventually found his way past. So too did Evgeny Bobashev on the very next lap as Tommy Searle crashed out of 7th place. Kevin Strybos having a good ride in 4th as Jake Nichols went out of 16th. Simpson down the inside of Gauthier Paulin once again to get himself in the 6th as Coldenhoff and Tommy Searle fell in the identical place over on the far side of the circuit. But it was Febvre who went on to win again from Boboshep and de Searle. And Febvre leads the championship now by 88 points going into round 14.
Well, that was Lockett in the Czech Republic a week ago. Ryan Villopoto still here, Monster Energy Kawasaki Racing Team. A track very similar to Trentino, round 4, in terms of its hard, packed nature and rocky surface. But let's talk Trentino now. From my side, I remember calling the commentary live and actually thinking this, for me, was probably your best performance of the year up to that point, just because of I wasn't expecting you to be at the sharp end.
I don't think anybody was on that track.
On that particular track.
Or that,
so
those conditions.
What was it that, about that place that you actually found?
Well, we made strides in bike setup and in some motor stuff also, and we we were working towards and we were getting better. And what showed up there and had 3 good starts from the qualifier to both motos, and we didn't win a moto, but we were up front racing with those guys, and it was somewhere where I don't think anybody thought I was going to be any good at.
Yeah. Like I say, you were closer from Thailand and Argentina and Qatar. Well, not Qatar because obviously problems there at the brake in the second moto, but certainly the other 2 races where you were like maybe 15 or 20 seconds off the pace by the end of the moto, you were right there with them, weren't you?
Yeah, no, it was
in
good.
The first race.
Yeah, it was. It was good. We, like I said, we made some good progress, and things were, I thought going in the right direction. And then we ended up crashing,
Well, let's talk about the crash now. We do have the clip, and I guess it's been watched.
Yeah,
you can look away if you want, but talk us through the second race. Obviously, Clément de Searle was behind you. Some people say maybe you panicked a little bit when he was alongside you, but you can tell us.
To be honest, it seemed like, I don't know exactly. We came off that single, landed, and got on the gas, and to me didn't do anything different than any other lap, and finished a moto. Don't really know exactly what happened. Landed there, got on the gas, started to move over on Clément a little bit, and before I knew it, I was upside down. Obviously wasn't quick enough to be able to react and get to the back brake, I clearly made a rookie mistake. That's something you do when you're first new to the sport. But it happens to everybody. It's not something that I would have liked to go out on, but it is what it is. It's a good laugh, I guess.
I mean, you can say it's a good laugh. I'm sure people have had a lot of enjoyment out of it. But at the time, it was a spectacular crash, wasn't it? Sliding down the track on your backside and then getting yourself out of harm's way. I mean, when you're walking back here with Thierry, what's going through your mind at that point, apart from your backside? Obviously?
Nothing at that point. Nothing at that point. Just trying to make sure everything's okay and make sure I'm gonna live.
The irony was that it was like, okay, Ryan Villopoto's down, he's picked up a DNF, and everybody built this big championship battle between you and Tony Cairoli. But if you look at the way the championship's gone, I mean, that would have been nothing, in the point scheme of things.
For sure. It's a long season. There's a lot of points out there up for grabs. So when you have a mistake and you are able to come back, or have a crash and get up and still finish 10th, 15th, whatever, those are still valuable points, even though it's your direct competitor might have won that moto. Anything can happen a couple weeks later, this, that, and the next, and either someone ends up hurt or DNFing.
Well, let's just talk about the injury then, because initially it was just maybe a cracked coccyx, and then you'd be back in a couple of weeks, and then nothing. We've already spoke about that in terms of how tough it was for you to. The reason for the silence was because of the decision that you had to make. But what was the actual nature of the injury then? Because some say it was just cracked, then broken into smithereens, and
well, it was broken into 4 pieces.
Okay.
My tailbone was, and it had some also L4, L5
lower back.
Lower back issues. With some soft tissue and stuff that was causing some problems also. But obviously the bone's the bone. It takes takes time to heal. In an awkward area to where it's like it's like almost okay. Well, how do I walk? I step on my foot every step. So what do? You sit on your motorcycle. You seat bounce things.
And you sit down. Your riding style. You sit down more than a lot of the guys in MXGP, for instance.
It's I guess you call it more of an American riding style, and you stand up a lot more than, or I mean sit down I guess as much as you stand up, where a lot of the guys are stand up more than they sit over here. So, it was something that was we knew was going to take time, and I've obviously had a couple of different opinions, and hey, it's going to be 3 months before you're going to even be able to be normal.
Would it be, I mean, we've all raced with injuries when you have to absolutely ride with injuries. Let's just say, hypothetically, you're going for the championship, there's 1 or 2 rounds left, there's a real chance that you can win the world championship. Would you have showed up at the next round? Was it was painful?
1 or 2 rounds left or a round left, then there's a whole different thought process. But where we were right then, I mean, there was a lot of rounds left, so the best is to sit them out and get healed. Or I feel like you run into problems kind of like Jeffrey had coming back a little too early or something. Yeah, you just cause more problems for yourself.
All the opinions I've heard from other riders, everybody's had an opinion on your season, Ryan, but it's some people said but some people said, that especially ex-racers who have done both, that you didn't come over early enough, that you didn't get here like in November, December, and acclimatize properly to GPs.
I wouldn't say there's many ex-riders that have done both.
But there's a small band.
There's some.
Yeah.
There's a handful.
But I mean, do you feel that looking back now with hindsight?
I think that, that's a catch-22, I guess. The weather's is bad over here during the winter. So, I spent my time out there, riding. I think the only thing that potentially could have, it wouldn't have maybe changed anything, but would have maybe helped us figure out kind of where we were, was maybe doing one international race. But that's something that I've never done, meaning, I've never been one to go hit this race or do this race before our season. It's always been the goal is the goal, and that's the season, and that's the way that's what I've always approached it in the States. So adding another race on there, a one-off one, really doesn't, that's not part of our deal.
In terms of the championship now, though, there's obviously, as you know, it's kind of imploded on itself in terms of riders going out, main contenders going out through injuries. Tony Cairoli's been out, he's out now, but he rode with his injury. Clement Nassau's been out, but it's back. Van Horbeek, Max, the championship leader, sitting at home and recuperating. Obviously, we cannot predict the future anyway, but in that respect, you must have been sitting there at one point thinking, man, maybe I could have stayed in there and picked up a couple of points here. And right now, at this stage of the season, there's a potential that I could have been right there, still challenging.
To be
that
honest,
never crossed your mind?
I have no regrets on the way it is. That's just that's the nature of the sport. Yeah. And believe me, I've rode through injuries before and things like that, and missed whole practices and showed up and raced a heat race in Supercross and raced the main event. And that was the first time I seen the track was in the heat race. Yeah. So I've done all those things and raced with ACLs torn for many years, and then raced with popping them out and things like that, and raced with a broken collarbone at one time and things like that. So the whole injury side of it and pain aspect of things I've dealt with as much as anybody, if not more. So that never crossed my mind was, oh, well, maybe I should stay out there or this or that. That's never been.
Ryan, what you did and the way it turned out, do you think that's going to kind of make other American racers fearful of doing Grand Prix, or do you think you might inspire them to come over?
Yeah, is there a rider actually that you think in today's crop of riders could come out and race MXGP?
I guess it all depends on if they obviously want to do it, want to give it a go, want to come over and live that lifestyle and live it over here. I don't know. It's I guess as big as the sport is over there, we're as big, if not bigger, over there. So that's a good question. I can't answer. Yeah, can't answer it.
All right, well, let's look at the championship since you left then. We're almost done. We're almost out of time. There's obviously been riders. We've got a clip. People like Gauthier Paulin, Tony Cairoli, and Romain Febvre. Looking at the championship now, are you surprised at the performances from Gauthier, or maybe lack of performances from Gauthier, and how the season's gone?
I don't think I'm surprised with anybody other than, I don't think any one of you guys are surprised other than probably Romain. Gautier's rode well. He's won races this year. He's got overalls. He's right there. There's a lot of guys that have gotten hurt that are out. That's the nature of the sport. But rookie season in the 450 class, you know, I don't know how long he's been racing GPs, period. I don't think very long.
4 years. Yeah.
Exactly. So that is, I think, is the big surprise. The guys, he's killing it. You know, you know, what more could you ask for from him or the team? You know, he's really riding really well.
And Tony, obviously, you know, luck finally running out on him, trying to ride with a broken bone in the arm. Guess we've got to give him credit for that, at least trying, because you know that's what he's here for as well. You know, but strange how the season's turned out, isn't it?
It is. You know, like I said, that's part of racing, and that's you play the cards you were dealt, and some of us aren't dealt
the best hand.
Yeah, exactly. So you just do what you make do with what you have.
Okay. Well, look. We've got just a handful of questions here from people on Twitter. One guy, Sparadonna.
Those should be good.
I've tried to be kind here.
Okay.
Sparadonna, how is your backside?
Yeah, everything's okay. I still haven't rode yet. You know, so I got to still be cautious of sitting down in, like, say, a hard chair or, you know, a wood bench or something like that. But everything's it's coming right.
From MG Steelwork. Were you here because you genuinely thought you had a chance to win the world title, or were you here for the money?
That's kind of an odd question.
Yeah, I know.
I think.
But a lot of fans have, you know, posted various things on.
You come this way because of, you know, thinking you have a shot at winning. And sure, I know I had a shot at winning. Yeah. And, you know, let's face it, I don't want to be crude, but we make more money over there. Yeah. So it wasn't about the money.
Exactly. Did you enjoy the MXGP experience and its battles for the brief time that you were here? That's from Aurora_Mafina100.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's really good to see, you know, the different cultures and the different the different way of lives, the different racing, and, you know, so it's very interesting. It was fun. It was fun while it lasted, and it was. You know, I always like coming to Europe and coming back and getting to see it and enjoy it.
And finally, from Shorty MX, I don't think it's Andrew Short, but what are your plans for the future?
I don't know yet. You know, I'm being cautious on just jumping right back into something and getting under that, you know, that schedule where you got to be here, you got to be there, you got to be doing this. You know, there's some things that I'd like to maybe give a go here. You know, when time is right, maybe do a little truck racing here and there. You know, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to jump back into something right away and then get myself, well, you know, what did I do that for? I just stepped out of that, you know. So being cautious on what I do. Right now I'm just enjoying being with my family and hanging out and not having a real schedule. But I do have you know, I'll be here. I go to Italy next week for the 16 bike launch, Kawasaki 16 bike launch, and then I come back for Assen and I think it's Mantova, yeah. So, and then Nations also. So I still have a schedule, you know, so it won't stop till I guess
September.
after, yeah, exactly. And then it'll be done for a while.
And you mentioned Casey Stoner a minute ago, Ryan. Is that a little bit of a cautionary tale? I mean, he had some bad luck at the Suzuka 8 Hour, you know, coming back, and, you know, it wasn't his fault, that crash, but as, you know, people say, oh, come on, jump back on the bike, do this race, do this Supercross, do the Monster Cup.
I don't know a whole lot about the 8 Hour, so I don't know exactly what that entailed. You know, I'm sure he trained for it and wanted to win it, but yeah, bummer what happened. You know, that'd be like me going and saying, okay, well, I'm gonna go race Loretta Lynn's, or I don't know what the.
Or just showing up at Glen Helen for the final GP, for instance. It's not going to happen, is it?
No, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, look, we are out of time here with Ryan Villopoto. So, Ryan, thanks for joining us on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
And enjoy your rest of the stay here in Europe.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Brief as it's going to be. And I think Ryan's going to be joining me in one of the races tomorrow in MXGP. So be interesting to hear his views on the riders and how they deal with this tough circuit here in Lommel. So, Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll see you over the course of the weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Right, Tommy Searle is waiting to come in and see us. But before we welcome him in, let's see how you can win with MotoMaster brake systems. So this week's competition gives you the chance to win with MotoMaster brake systems. And name 3 riders on KTM, Husqvarna or Yamaha who use MotoMaster in 2015. Guess correctly and you could win a 270 MXGP brake kit with a matching rear disc and the MXGP, the official video game. As always, you can enter via our Facebook page, or for more information, go to mxgp.com. And don't forget to like or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And of course, good luck with that. But don't forget our mid-season sale, where MXGP TV is offering a 50% discount on our season pass, which also includes the FIM Monster Energy, Motocross of Nations, and Tommy Searle, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing, is here, and he's been very, very patient, actually, as well. So, Tommy, welcome to our studio show. First time for you this year. I was hoping to have you on a little bit earlier in the season, but things haven't gone... it's been a bit of a shocking season for you, hasn't it, really? Let's be blunt. And
yeah, no, it's been terrible, to be quite honest. Something that I didn't expect, obviously, when I signed for KTM last year. I was like, okay, I'd already had a bad season last year, and then I was thinking, all right, this one, put all the effort in and then get myself back up to where I need to be. But yeah, it didn't happen. I think those things happen, and I need to keep plugging away and doing my best to get back to where I need to be.
And it's a shame, because by signing Red Bull KTM Factory Racing, you put yourself in a perfect opportunity to excel again, didn't you? You know, certainly be going for race wins and podiums and titles.
Yeah, that was the plan. When I was, well, last year, obviously, I wasn't doing so well. I mean, I hurt my wrist. I'm in Thailand with the crash, and then that's sort of where it all went wrong. And then I come back, and actually didn't do too bad, was 5th, 6th and stuff. But so then I signed with KTM, everything, okay, yeah, that's good team, one of the best teams in the paddock, if not the best team in the paddock. And then I went to Rome and spent a good winter with the team, and I lived down there. So I done everything I possibly could to put myself in a good position, but yeah, stuff goes wrong, and that's happened this year.
Well, I remember just seeing a tweet earlier on in the year going, you know, I'm in Rome, these guys don't muck about, you know. For me, that says there's a lot of hard work going on behind the scenes with you, getting, you know, dialed to the new team, and with your teammates, you know, Ken and Tony as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I went down there, and then I lived in my camper, so it wasn't like I was living the dream down there, doing what I'm doing what I wanted to do, don't get me wrong, but I put a lot of effort in, put a lot of sacrifices in to be down there, and then it gave me a lot of confidence just riding with Tony. You know, he's 8 times world champion, and then you got your Ken there also. Ken, it was nice to spend time with them, and just being on that program, it wasn't like well, this is unbelievable. This is what I've been missing all my career. It was just it was a solid program that they put a lot of effort in. They take it very seriously, but also they enjoy themselves down there, and it just gave me confidence in doing what they were doing. You know, I was like, this is what the world champion's been doing, so you know, it must be right. And I just done it week in, week out, and I enjoyed doing it at the same time. But then, you know, the pre-season races went well. I was 2nd in the Italian Championship, so everything was looking good. But then the first round I had a problem, and then the second round I had a big crash, and then yeah, I think it's gone downhill.
Tommy, after 4 rounds, Tony decided he'd made a little bit of a misjudgment and switched to the 450. Did that kind of ever go through your mind, because you started off on the 350 all the way through the winter? Did you ever kind of have the same, you know, thought process, or? No,
never. To be honest, I was really happy when I signed for KTM. I was like, okay, I want to try that bike. And then in the off season, I tried it, and there was never one complaint with the bike. And then obviously I didn't even really. Still haven't really got a chance to race it healthy, and but I have no complaints with the bike or the team, and I think it's a great bike.
Normally we wouldn't do this, but again, just I guess more out of frustration, you know, as a Brit, as a fan of the sport, and I guess as an admirer of you in terms of your talent, your ability on a bike, and knowing how frustrating it has been for you. We've got a bit of a crash reel selection here, you know, of some of the races, which kind of helps explain why the season has gone so wrong for you. I think starting with the GoPro footage from Tony. I mean, do you know what happened at that moment? You know, was it a takeoff issue? And then these are just, you know,
Spain.
This is Spain. Some of them, that one was just like a kicker, but the one in in Thailand, sorry.
Sweden.
Yes. Well, yeah, it's not. There's a few. This one in Sweden was just a little small error myself. I just wanted to pass Davide and or David Villopoto, and then maybe I should have waited a couple of weeks. But that, yeah, I fractured a bone in my in my elbow, and that was that. But in Thailand, I don't really know what happened now. I just hit the jump like every other lap, and it wasn't that I think now, oh, this is what I've done wrong, or I took a chance, or anything. It was just, yeah, I can't really say why I crashed. I mean, maybe I hit it too fast that one lap or something like that. But
Obviously, this one here in Latvia, just the first turn, that can happen anyway, can't it?
Yeah,
But
that
it
was just a freak thing. I think someone hit me, and then all of a sudden I just went straight into a Fevre's wheel, which was bad for him also, because he's in a championship position. I didn't want to involve with that. But it's just so
it's just
I don't know, it's just crash after crash after crash.
Yeah.
And I like to think of myself that I don't normally crash, which I generally don't in my career. I've never been someone that crashes, but I think after the first one in Thailand, which is a freak thing, and then I think I maybe I come back too soon, which is just one of those things. I wanted to be out racing it personally, but I sat on a sofa in a brace, like a body brace for 6 weeks, and then the doctor says, okay, you can start riding, and then I went straight to Rome. Maybe a little bit too excited. Maybe I should have just eased off and said to the team, like, oh, I want some weeks to get stronger again. But I was so keen to get back out there, and then I raced. And when I come back from there, I think I was like 12 and 11th places, which at the time I was happy. I was like, okay, that's fine. I haven't been racing. I'll build up. But then in Spain, I hit there was dust across the takeoff, and I saw nothing. And then all of a sudden, the next thing, I've just gone over the handlebars. So another thing that it's just another freak thing. So then I could put it down. Okay, there's two bad things that have happened, and then I sat out, and then I've come back, and it's been one thing after another. But I think it's just sort of a spiral. I wanted to do good because of contracts and stuff, so I was trying to prove myself, and maybe I wasn't ready to prove myself.
Maybe just trying too hard. Then.
Yeah, I think trying too hard, and that sort of carry on. I think I just wasn't ready physically and probably mentally after those crashes. But I'm trying to go the same pace as what I've shown, and I can ride with the top 5. But I've been making little mistakes here and there, which is it's not good for me to do, and it's taking a toll on my body. And I think ideally it would have been nice to sit out a little bit longer, get strong, and then come back. If I could take back the time, that's what I would have done. But it's time to push on. It's my job to race, and I want to keep plugging on and get through this tough time.
Well, that's not all bad, is it? You were leading the qualifying race in Latvia on Saturday, and you showed there you got good speed when you get out the start, and you can run with the top guys that are doing the business week in, week out at the moment.
Yeah, no, I think I do have good speed. That's not a problem with mine at the minute. It never has been a problem. But right now I need to finish races, and I need to I just need to build my tolerance back out of racing. It's I've been a long time injured now, and a long time all this season and last season. So it's time that I just need to take a bit of time and get myself back fit and get myself back 100%. And try and finish this year off as good as I possibly can.
Is it frustrating, Tommy, that people still have a question mark over you as a big bike rider, especially as like maybe your best performance in the last 2 years came on a 250 at the Nations?
No, it's not. It's not a problem with that. I know deep down that I can ride a bike, and it's been frustrating because it's been 1 year last year that you have a bad year, and you're like, okay, that's one bad year, and then it was like, all right, well, next year have a good year, but then it's gone, it's gone the wrong way again. So it is very frustrating, and it's hard to deal with mentally. But it's one of those things that it may happen in my career, and maybe I'm still young. I'm still 26, and the injuries I've had, they've been injuries, but they're not career-threatening injuries. They're just injuries that have set me back and set me back again. And now I need to work my way up, and that's what I'm trying to do. And I know I can get there, and I just have to keep plugging away.
So is that the goal then for the rest of the season? Just stay on 2 wheels first of all, plan A?
It is the goal, but also when I'm out on track, I want to win. Well, not so much win right now, but I want to do well. And when I'm fighting with those top boys, I'm not the sort of rider that says, all right, I'm going to settle in here. I want to fight, and I want to race for decent positions. I don't want to be racing for positions that I don't want to be in. It's something that I have inside me that I want to try and better myself, and I push every weekend. But now it's took a toll on my body the last few races. I haven't practiced in Sweden because I have the crash with my elbow, and then I done something to my rib, whether it's a muscle or something. So I haven't been able to practice since, and so I've just been going race to race and trying to do what I can do. But I'm going to keep on plugging away until I get to where I need to be. All
right. Well, obviously we wish you all the best here and for the next 5 rounds, including this one. But just one question from Twitter: are you a Red Bull KTM rider in 2016? That's from the Dead Gamer 23.
Should he answer that right now?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure at the minute. Obviously I love the team that I'm on. It's a brilliant team. They've won championships. They know what they're doing. And when I signed last year, I knew I'd signed for one of the best teams in the pit. So I'm happy where I am right now, and I'm going to do my best the rest of the year with the team where I am at now with Red Bull KTM, and put all my effort into that, and then I'll see where that leaves me after a few more races.
When will an announcement come? By the end of August or sooner?
I'm not sure when an announcement will come. Obviously, it's a great team that I'm on now, and I want to do my best for myself and for them.
All right, well, Tommy Searle, Red Bull KTM Facturation, thanks for joining us here. But that is all we've got time for, a slightly extended version of our 30-minute studio show here in Belgium. But with 5 rounds to go, obviously the championship now is starting to look interesting in both classes, particularly in MX2. So join us for all the action tomorrow live on MXGPTV.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Thanks. Bye.